You wake up and check your phone. Still no word from that company. Another rejection. Your inbox is quiet, but your heart is filled with worry. Here's the truth no one really talks about. You're not the only one. Thousands wake up carrying the same heaviness, scrolling through job listings they don't even care for, just trying to survive in a system that was never designed for inner peace. But what if the issue isn't with you? What if Allah is keeping certain doors closed because your sustenance is written to come through a completely different route? One you keep overlooking? And maybe right now you're thinking of scrolling away. But stay. This isn't some shallow motivational clip or empty believe in your dream job speech. This is real. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment where everything starts to click. You've done what you're supposed to. You studied, worked hard, applied everywhere. You even raised your hands in dua with tears. Still, nothing. Don't lose hope. Don't quit yet. Because what you're about to hear might be the one thing you've never considered, and exactly what you need. We live in a world that worships busyness. If you're not exhausted, you're seen as lazy. If you're not overwhelmed, they say you're falling behind. They sold us the idea that your value is measured by how much you grind, how much you do, how worn out you look. But Islam didn't come to turn people into tools for corporations. It came to liberate souls for the worship of Allah. The sad part? Many Muslims today have started defining their self-worth by their inbox, their job title, or how many interview calls they receive. We've been fed this false belief that if we hustle hard enough, everything will fall into place. But ask yourself, if provision was based purely on effort, why do the richest people often work the least? Why does the man sweating under the sun earn less than someone answering emails in an air-conditioned cafe? Because effort is not the source of rizq. Allah is. Now don't get this twisted. Islam honors hard work. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The best food a man consumes is what he earns with his own hands." But nowhere does Islam say, destroy your health, burn out your soul, and lose your purpose just to chase a paycheck. Work is noble. Worship is nobler. And when hustle becomes your identity, you start forgetting the one who actually provides. That's why so many people feel empty. Not because they don't work hard, but because they put their faith in the wrong system. If we truly believe Allah is our Razak, the provider, then why do we act like online portals are our saviors? Why do we chase what seems secure on paper and treat Allah's provision like a last resort? Here's a truth most won't admit. A lot of people aren't stuck because they're unqualified. They're stuck because they keep ignoring the direction Allah actually made easy for them, while begging Him to open a path He already closed. Sometimes you cry out, "Ya Allah, I've done my part. Why isn't this working?" But maybe that door is shut because your rizq was never meant to come from them. It was meant to come through you, your hands, your skills, your ideas, your service. The Prophet reminded us, the best food is what a person earns through his own efforts. You weren't made to endlessly beg. You were created to build with purpose. We ask Allah for provision, then ignore the very things He nudges us toward. We ask for sustenance, but turn away when it comes in a form society doesn't glamorize. That little business idea you dismissed, that halal service you brushed off, that freelance gig you thought wasn't real work. Maybe those were your answers, but you kept running toward what the world celebrates, ignoring the road Allah cleared just for you. The system says success means being picked. Islam teaches that Allah already chose you. So don't just look where the world is pointing. Look where Allah is guiding. Let's be honest. Most people today aren't chasing purpose. They're chasing survival, just trying to stay afloat. So when they apply for jobs, their mindset isn't, how can I serve? It's, will they choose me? But maybe that mindset is exactly what's holding you back. In Islam, we are called to be in service, to bring ease to others. The Prophet said, "The most beloved people to Allah are those who are most beneficial to others." That's not a feel-good line, it's a blueprint. So instead of only asking, who will hire me? Start asking, whose problem can I help solve? Because when you shift your thinking from being chosen to being of service, your risk transforms. Our provision is not linked to a fancy brand or company. It's tied to impact, to value, to intention. And the world is overflowing with real needs. Families seeking halal options, Muslims unsure how to navigate modern fiqh, youth overwhelmed with mental health, elderly neighbors who feel forgotten, kids with no Islamic guidance. Every one of those is an open door, a space where you can serve, a space where risk can flow. Even something simple, a tutoring side gig, an e-commerce idea, a blog helping Muslims live intentionally, a product for Muslim mothers to save time, a digital course, an app, a service. You don't need investors. You don't need to go viral. You need intention, and you need to begin. Because the barakah comes when you try, not when the world claps. Many of the most content and financially secure people today didn't wait to be picked. They started small. They started sincere. And Allah expanded their path. They found a way to give value, and provision came running to them. So maybe, instead of refreshing your inbox one more time, try opening your heart to something deeper, something real, something that benefits others. The Prophet Muhammad taught us, Allah continues to help the servant so long as the servant helps his brother. So serve and watch how Allah takes care of your future. There comes a point when you've done it all. Polished your CV, attended every interview, rewritten your resume, rehearsed your answers, updated your LinkedIn, and still, silence, rejections, no response, and your heart aches. You start wondering, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'll never succeed. But maybe it's not your capability that's the problem. Maybe it's the direction you're facing. You keep knocking on doors created by people, hoping one will swing open. But the one door you're overlooking is the only one that truly matters. Allah's. Your sustenance isn't held in HR offices. It's not hidden behind credentials or corporate panels. Allah says, whoever has taqwa of Allah, He will make a way out for him and provide for him from sources he never imagined. Quran 65, 2-3. So where is your God consciousness in the midst of your job hunt? Where is your Fajr sujood? Where is your quiet istighfar? Your midnight tears? We chase recommendations, referrals, and LinkedIn connects. But forget the most powerful connection was always with the one who wrote your risk before you even entered this world. When was the last time you cried to Allah, not for a job, but for peace? Not for a title, but for trust? Not for someone to notice you, but for your Rabb to accept you? The people you're trying to impress, they don't hold your future. They can turn you down 100 times, but if Allah wills, He'll send a single opportunity from a path you never saw coming. Your provision isn't late. It's arriving exactly on time. But maybe your heart needs to be prepared to receive it. Sometimes the sujood you make today becomes the reason a door opens tomorrow. Not because of your qualifications, but because of your submission. So stop waiting for a reply from someone who isn't our Rahman, and start replying to the call of the one who asks you to come to him 5 times a day. Allah says, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." And the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The closest a servant is to his Lord is in sujood. So ask more, bow more, and let the provision find you." We treat job rejection like it defines who we are. One email, and suddenly our self-worth crumbles. But here's a question. Who gave them that power over your worth? When you tie your self-esteem to someone else's approval, you don't just face rejection. You hand over your soul, and no believer should ever make that trade. Barakah doesn't live in a job offer. It's not tucked into a resume, and it's not locked behind an interview panel. Barakah comes from Allah, through your sincerity, your service, your sujood. When you chase the world, you gamble everything on results. When you chase Allah, you invest everything in intentions. And there's a world of difference between those two mindsets. One says, "What if they say no?" The other says, "What if Allah says yes?" There is no shame in seeking work. But it is a tragedy to base your self-worth on how many callbacks you get. In Islam, success isn't about outcomes. It's about obedience. You plant the seed, you water it, you make dua. The outcome, that's Allah's job. Remember, the most meaningful things in life are often built without applause, without likes, without validation. So stop waiting for someone to choose you. Stop minimizing your potential just to meet someone else's expectations. Stop thinking your silent inbox means you're unworthy. And start doing the one thing guaranteed to bring results: pleasing Allah. Rejection only stings when you forget who controls the doors. But when your efforts are for Allah, not for likes, not for salary, not for clout, then even the world's rejection doesn't matter. Your risk isn't in their emails. Your barakah isn't in their systems. And your future, it's written by our Razak. Scroll through social media today and you'll find endless advice. How to impress recruiters, how to ace interviews, how to climb the career ladder. But scroll through our Islamic history and you'll find a different kind of greatness. The Prophet Muhammad, he didn't wait to be hired. He built a nation. The Sahaba didn't sit and wait for offers. They created, they served, they sacrificed. Khadija, R.A., was one of the wealthiest, most successful businesswomen of her time. She didn't wait for approval. She traded with integrity and used her wealth to fuel the mission of Islam. Abu Bakr, R.A., was a respected merchant, but he didn't let that define him. When Islam called, he gave all that he had, his wealth, his voice, his heart, to serve. That's what true believers do. They use what they have to uplift others, not just to survive. You weren't created to be a nameless part of someone else's machine. You were created to be a Khalifa, a caretaker of the earth, a builder, a leader, a contributor. This ummah was not built by those chasing job titles. It was built by those chasing Jannah. Back then, believers measured their day not by their pay, but by their prayers. But now we're being trained to care more about resumes than revelations, to focus more on building LinkedIn profiles than building legacies, to stress over pensions more than paradise. Pleasing Allah, that's real success. You think security comes from a stable paycheck, but true safety lies in yaqeen, in unwavering certainty that Allah never leaves those who stay committed to His path. Even when the road is quiet, even when it feels unsafe, even when there's no one cheering you on. So yes, be wise, work honestly, earn through halal means. But don't let the dunya make you forget your identity. Because believers aren't shaped in offices. They're formed in solitude, in moments of late-night prayer, in sincere trust, in complete surrender to Allah's will. And if you build your life that way, you won't need recognition down here, because your steps will already be honored above. Let's be honest. We live in a time where jobs are treated like saviors, where your title determines your value, your salary defines your dignity, and your future depends on how well you impress someone sitting across a desk. But Islam came to shatter that illusion. Your provision doesn't come from a corporation. It doesn't come from a boss or a company policy. It doesn't come from a world that constantly changes the rules. It comes from Al-Razzaq, the one who has never once missed anyone's sustenance. Not for a moment, not for a breath. So stop panicking when the inbox is quiet. Stop doubting yourself because someone didn't reply. Stop shrinking your du'as to fit the world's version of what's possible. Because your journey isn't just about landing a job. It's about being chosen by Allah in ways that may never make headlines, but are recorded in the heavens forever. And if you ever forget that, open Surah Al-Baqarah and find the verse where Allah promises, "Whoever is conscious of Allah, He will make a way out for him and will provide for him from where he does not expect." That's not just inspiration. That's revelation. That's truth. So yes, send the applications. Prepare well. Put in the effort. But never forget, the moment your trust shifts from the system to your sustainer, that's the moment you stop being just another job seeker and start living like a true believer. And before you scroll away, carry this with you. Comment this short dua so others can benefit too. Ya Allah, grant me provision that draws me nearer to you. If this reminded you to refocus on what truly matters, like share and pass it on, not for clout, but so more hearts can be pulled back to the true source of all sustenance. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Al-Razaq, Al-Razaq, Al-Razaq.